All right, so you've got to hear about this. A few weeks back, AI researcher Andre Karpathy dropped this one idea on GitHub, and it just set off an absolute firestorm. We're not talking about a new model or some fancy code, but a whole new way of thinking about knowledge management with AI. It's called the LLM Wiki. And today, we're going to break down what it is, why it started such a huge debate, and the incredible wave of projects it inspired. And this quote, this gets right to the heart of the problem Karpathy was trying to solve. He's pointing out that pretty much every AI system we use today, whether it's ChatGPT or something else, is basically starting from zero every single time. There's no real memory. It's like having a brilliant expert who gets amnesia the second you walk away and come back. They're powerful, for sure, but they never truly learn and grow from our interactions. So yeah, it really feels like our AI assistants have amnesia, right? The current gold standard for this stuff is a system called RAG, which stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's super powerful. It can sift through mountains of documents to find an answer. But here's the catch. It does that every single time. It never builds a deeper interconnected web of knowledge. It just rereads the same books for every exam, never actually learning the material. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got RAG, our forgetful expert, constantly going back to the raw source material. But on the right, you have Karpathy's vision, the compounding brain. This is a total game changer. The AI isn't just a retriever anymore. It's a builder. It constructs this persistent knowledge base, this wiki. And knowledge gets compiled once and then updated. The wiki itself becomes the memory. Which brings us to this key idea, the compounding artifact. Such a great term. This isn't just a folder full of notes. Think of it more like a living garden. Every new piece of information you add isn't just another plant, it's fertilizer for the entire ecosystem, making everything else richer and more connected. The whole thing doesn't just get bigger, it actually gets smarter. And that is the core promise of the LLM Wiki. Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Well, Karpathy came up with this brilliant analogy. He said to think of your note-taking app, something like Obsidian, as your coding environment. The wiki you're building, that's your code base, and the LLM, well, the LLM is your tireless programmer, doing all the heavy lifting of writing, linking, and maintaining that code for you. The whole system is built on these 3 layers. First, you've got your raw sources. These are your articles, your PDFs, your notes. They are sacred, you never change them. They are the absolute source of truth. The second layer is the wiki itself, which is just a bunch of simple text files that the LLM has complete control over. But the third layer, the schema, that's the secret sauce. This is your rulebook. It's how you give the LLM strict instructions on how to build the wiki, turning it from a creative storyteller into a disciplined librarian. And the wiki comes to life through 3 main jobs. First is ingest. You feed it a new document, and the LLM reads it and weaves its insights all throughout the existing wiki, maybe updating 10 different pages at once. Then there's query. You ask a question, and it gives you an answer based on its organized knowledge. And here's the really clever bit. If you get a really good answer, you can tell the AI to save it as a brand new page, so your own curiosity makes the system smarter. Finally, there's lint. That's a programming term for checking for errors. You can tell the LLM, hey, go check for any contradictions or old info, and it'll clean itself up. So it sounds amazing, right? Almost too good to be true. And as soon as this idea hit the internet, the developer community immediately started the reality check. The comment section just blew up with some really smart, tough critiques, all asking the same fundamental question. Can we really trust an LLM with our knowledge? And this was the first huge fear that popped up from a user named Paula Mitchin, hallucinations. It's a massive concern. I mean, if the LLM makes a small mistake when it summarizes a document, and then it uses that faulty summary to answer future questions, aren't you just creating a feedback loop of errors? A tiny hallucination could get compounded over and over until it's a major problem. Then you have this more philosophical critique from GNU support. They argue that LLMs, at their core, just aren't consistent. They're probabilistic, they're guessing the next word. Can a machine that just generates text without any real intent or understanding actually be trusted to write a meaningful and coherent knowledge base? It's a deep question about the nature of writing itself. And finally, a really sharp technical critique from a surfer. They basically said the whole architecture might be flawed. Knowledge isn't a neat little tree. It's a super complex, messy web of interconnected ideas. And they argue that trying to manage that web with simple links and text files is a big mistake. You might need something way more powerful, like a graph database. So between the risks of hallucination, the lack of consistency, and architectural questions, the dream was facing some serious hurdles. But this is where the story gets really, really cool. The criticism didn't kill the idea, not at all. In fact, all that debate and skepticism actually forced everyone to make the idea better. People started acknowledging the flaws and thinking about how to build a smarter, more realistic system around them. And this was the big shift in thinking. The goal isn't to wait for some perfect, all-knowing AI that never makes mistakes. The real answer is to build a better system that can work with the imperfect AIs we have today. It's not about replacing the human, it's about building an incredible co-pilot that can handle 90% of the grunt work of organizing knowledge, freeing up the human to do the high-level thinking. And this is the solution that came out of all that discussion, a constrained pipeline. Think of it like putting guardrails on the AI. You use those strict schemas to force it to follow your rules. You make it score its own confidence, so if it's not sure about something, it flags it for you. And most importantly, you build in a human in the loop. When the AI finds a major contradiction it can't solve, it doesn't just guess, it creates a to-do list for a human to review. And you always treat the wiki as a summary, with direct links back to the original documents, so you can never drift too far from the source of truth. So with these safety nets in place, Karpathy's idea didn't just survive, it thrived. It went viral. And what happened next was just this explosion of creativity. Developers all over the world just started running with it, building their own versions and adding their own amazing twists to the core idea. Let's check out some of the cool projects that popped up. First, there's Swarm Vault. This isn't just a script, it's a full-blown app. It runs locally on your machine, so your data is private. It's got a slick interface, a graph viewer to see how your ideas connect, and it integrates with 16 different AI agents. It's seriously impressive. Then you've got something like BrainDB, which takes it to a whole other level. Instead of one AI, it uses a team of 6 specialized AIs that all work together. It uses a proper database for more structure, and get this, it has an automated self-healing feature where it goes out and checks the web to make sure its facts are still up to date. That's some next-level stuff. Of course, not everyone wants something that complex. Accessibility is huge too, and that's where projects like Menmo Vault come in. Its whole goal is to make this pattern easy and free for anyone. It's designed to run entirely on your own computer using open source models, so you can build your own compounding brain without ever paying for an API call. And honestly, that's just scratching the surface. The whole ecosystem is buzzing. There are versions focused on super strict data integrity, others that refine the whole process, plugins that add multi-language support. The list just goes on and on. This isn't just one person's idea anymore. It's become a full-on movement. Which brings us back to our big question. Is this pattern, this partnership between human intelligence and AI automation, the future of how we manage knowledge? Or is it just a beautiful dream that's ultimately too complex, too prone to the flaws of today's AI? You know, the jury is still out. But one thing is absolutely clear. The dream is powerful enough to inspire a whole new generation of builders who are dead set on making it a reality.